Welcome to another episode of Project Renegade. In this episode, we're going to install a vacuum gauge. Like I said, in this episode, we're going to install a vacuum gauge. This was sent to us by GlowShift. We're going to take this over to the bench and look at everything that's in the box. Here we are on the bench. This is the box that the gauge comes in. Sorry for the glare. This is vacuum gauge. So what we need to do is find the proper vacuum underneath the hood of Project Renegade, and we need to install this T-fitting. And then we have to run this vacuum tube through the firewall into the cabin. This is a mechanical gauge, so with it you only have your yellow constant, your red switched, your black ground, and your orange to dim. So we're gonna get this thing installed. There's an optional function of these gauges which will dim the gauge by 30% when you turn on your headlights or your parking lights. So it just dims the gauges down and makes it a little bit easier to see while you're driving. You want to take that wire, which is the orange wire, and hook that to something like your headlight switch or your parking lights or marker lights, something that comes on with your headlights or your marker lights. You don't want to hook it to your dimmer with the rest of your dash lights because that can cause it to flicker. I wanted to show a little bit easier way of tapping into some of this stuff. So we're over here on the side at the fuse panel. We're going to remove the panel. I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer and show you what we're going to use to make the installation of this a little bit easier, so you don't have to, get in here and hardwire to any of the wiring in the vehicle. So we're up here real close to the fuses. And the reason why we're over here is we're going to use one of these. This is an ADA circuit or a fuse tap. It goes by quite a few different names. And basically what it does is you remove a fuse and you put this in place of the fuse. And then it has two different fuse spots. So you can actually keep the fuse for the existing circuit, and then it has another spot for a fuse that is going to be a fuse for this wire here that comes out of it for your new circuit. You can see that I've already added one down here. This one down here will be for the orange wire, so when we turn on our headlights, the gauge will do the dimming function. And then we're going to use another one that is going to be for our switched source, which is the red wire. We're going to go ahead and pull our fuse. We've got our fuses in, and we're going to reinstall this. This way you don't have to tap into any wiring. All you have to do is connect your new wiring to the butt connector that they have pre-installed on here. So now we have our switched power. We have our other switched power, which comes on with our headlights, and I'm actually going to hardwire for the constant power, but I just wanted to show you how these little ADA circuits work. So we're underneath the hood, and now we just need to kind of look around and try to find some vacuum lines and stuff. Most of the time it's going to be these rubber lines. Sometimes you'll have hard plastic lines, but more often than not it's going to be rubber. This here is a vacuum line. It goes over to the brakes. So I think this one here is going to work. I'll show you how to find out if you have the right vacuum line. If this is the right vacuum, which I'm pretty sure it is, I think I'm going to have to get a different fitting because this is a pretty large line. There's not really any small vacuums that I can find on the Jeep Liberty. But what I'm going to do is go in and I'm going to start the Jeep, and then I'm going to show you how you can tell if you have the right vacuum line or not. You want to make sure that you don't have any baggy clothing or anything on, so you don't get caught down in any belts or anything like that. But like I was saying, I think this might be the vacuum line. So you want to listen to the way your engine sounds right now and find the vacuum line that you think will be the right one. And when you pull it off, if the engine changes in sound, if the RPMs go up or down, then you know you have the right vacuum line if it makes a change in the way the engine's running. Hear how that makes a difference in the way the engine's running? So we know that is a usable vacuum line, but it is pretty large, so I think I'm gonna have to find a different fitting. Like if you come up here, that will also change the way the engine's running, but since it's connected to the throttle body, you don't want to use that vacuum line. You want something connected to the intake. As you can see, I've got the dash completely tore apart on here. This isn't a necessary step. It just seems like anytime I do something, I just tear the dash out because it's so much easier to get in here for all your wiring and everything. I've got the vacuum line ran up to the gauge. We're gonna see if the gauge works here. Now I'm gonna start the Jeep and see if it works. It looks like it's flickering, but it's actually not, at least on the screen that I'm seeing on the camera. It looks like it's flickering, but I think it's just the frame rate, because when I look at the gauge with my eyes, it's not flickering. It's kind of hard to tell how bright it is, but I'm gonna turn on the headlights. You can see that the gauge dims. Turn the headlights back off. And then when it's shut off, it's just black. But this is all just temporary. Of course, I'm not going to leave the dash apart, wires hanging everywhere, and a gauge just setting up there. That's it for another episode of Project Renegade. I have to give a huge shout out to GlowShift for sending out their product. So if you're going to go over and visit GlowShift, make sure to use the link down in the description. If you use that link, that lets them know that I sent you over there. I would really appreciate that. They've got all kinds of stuff, and if you've got something other than a Jeep, they've got all kinds of universal stuff. They've got some stuff that's actually plug and play, some gauge pods that are made for specific vehicles. So they may have something that might just bolt directly onto your vehicle. So make sure to go check them out. And while you're checking those out, make sure to check out the Rocky X TV Facebook and Patreon pages. The links to those are also in the description. So if you came across this video and you're not one of my subscribers or you're new to the channel, make sure to go into my channel and check out a couple other videos. I've got all kinds of different videos and a bunch of different playlists and stuff. I'm pretty sure you'll find something in there that you like. So if you find a video that you like, hit the like button. If you have something to say, leave it down in the comments. And if you find a couple videos that you like, don't forget to subscribe to my channel.